Hello and welcome to this week's episode on the Music Misfit Show podcast. On this week's episode, we have Nuala, who is an incredible singer-songwriter from the UK. And if you haven't heard her music already, please go follow her on all her social media links. As well, if you'd like to help out the channel, please click that subscribe button to your right-hand side. There should be a little Music Misfit Show icon on the right-hand side. And just to give you a backstory, I first met Nuala at a festival down in Kent. And ever since I've seen her perform live, I've been a fan. So I think you will be too. Let's do this. Yo, check it out. You are tuned into the Music Misfit Show. And tonight, we have a very, very, very special guest on the show. She is an amazing performer, an amazing artist, and she goes by the name of Nuala. How's it going?
Hi, thanks. That was a brilliant intro. I love that. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Thanks. Very good. Happy to have you on the show.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
I want to ask you the first question, which is I'm interested to know about where you came from, how you were raised to be the person you are today.
Okay, well, that's quite a big question, isn't it? Because many things, right? But I'm originally from Leicestershire, from like a small town on the outskirts, basically arse end of nowhere, where nothing really happens and it's very boring. But it's all right, you know. But yeah, I kind of raised by my mum and both my mum and my dad. My mum and my dad split up when I was 7, but they both do music. My mum plays guitar and sings, and my dad's a drummer, so I've kind of got like natural rhythm from him, I reckon.
Yeah.
And yeah, they've both kind of been in bands throughout my childhood and stuff, but they have like normal jobs. So like I'm the only one that's really gone and done like the proper like music career thing. My mum's like a university lecturer. My dad does like computer programming, so it's like academic-y stuff. And yeah, I'm the one that's kind of pursued it, like that crazy one of the family that's been like, I'm gonna make this my career. But yeah, and then I stayed there, and then I moved to London to go to uni initially, but also just to pursue the music thing. Really, I think like London is the place to be, you know. So yeah, and now it's basically my home. I have my life here, I've got my friends here, and I've got my career here, and it's kind of like, you know, there's no reason for me to leave. I like to go back and visit, but like I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I'm not going back home. I'm not staying there for too long. But yeah, so that's it really.
So would you say like the musical seeds were kind of planted quite early?
Definitely, yeah. A lot of rock music predominantly, like really into like Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath and like, you know, all that. And my mum was really into, and my dad, but my mum definitely, she's into a lot of like psychedelic rock, so like Gong and what's the other one? She would hate me for forgetting this. What was it? Gong, and then there's the other one that's like, do you know much psychedelic rock?
Spongle?
No, not that one.
I mean, obviously there's Jimi Hendrix, classes psychedelic rock.
Yeah. But it's more on the side of like, you know, where it kind of goes a bit jazzy almost, and kind of, you know, you've got the rock. It was really annoyed me that I've forgotten the name of that band. Hawkwind.
Okay.
Yeah, like they're like her 2 favorite bands, Gong and Hawkwind. So, and I never really appreciated it much when I was younger. I was just thought it was, but then as I've got older, I've started to appreciate it, and like going for like long, like, you know, like car journeys and stuff to wherever, and she put that on, and yeah, I now appreciate it. But yeah, definitely. From my mum said that she was pregnant with me when she was playing in her band, so she was like 9 months pregnant, still playing the guitar, like, you know. So it's kind of ingrained, and I think music. I think, you know, music's in the blood.
Yeah.
So definitely, I think so, because I mean, my grandparents also play instruments, and so it's just one of them things. Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you picked up a guitar?
I don't know if I can remember like the first time. I started off on piano, and then I realized that it's not very transportable, so a guitar was better. So, but I remember, I think I wrote my first song on the guitar when I was like 10, Like maybe, you know, it was probably, I think, because I lived in America for 9 months when I was 9, and it was just like my mum got a job opportunity over there, and we went. It was just me and my mum and my brother, and we went over there. And then I came back, and I remember writing this song called "The U.S. of A." And I like wrote this song about it on the guitar. But yeah, it's probably around that age.
Yeah. So was there like a defining moment when you went, okay, this is what I want to do?
It's literally always been the thing. Like, it's just, I mean, there was never a defining moment because it's just always been a thing that I've wanted to do. Like, I think my mum says, I always refer back to like when everyone realised I could sing was I was in like my nativity play at school, and you know, like I was like the angel Gabriel, and I had like a solo part as I was walking down, like, you know, in between the audience and everything, and I had like a solo singing part, and then everyone was like, oh my god, she can sing. And I was probably only about 4 or 5 then, you know. And I think when you're a kid and you get like praise for something and you realize you're good at something, then more often than not you probably pursue it, right? So
Yeah.
like, well, so I did because, you know, it seemed to be the one thing that I was good at. And then, so yeah, it was just a continual thing. I suppose when I was younger, I was like, I want to be like Britney Spears, and like, you know, I want to like be like pop princess, you know. But then I was like, actually, if you want any sort of, I mean, it's kind of, I don't know, some people might disagree with me, but if you want any sort of like credibility or respect or whatever, you should write your own songs, right? Like, so then I started writing my own songs quite quickly. But yeah, it's just always been a thing for me.
Yeah. Cool. And you also did actually, before the interview, we were actually talking a little bit about how you went to Germany
Yeah.
to see Tube and Burger to work with them. Can you talk
Yeah.
about your experience there?
Yeah, it was really fun. So basically, I can't remember how we even got in touch. It was like years ago. And don't actually, oh, I got introduced by someone else, through someone else. And then we worked together a little bit anyway on different, we're just doing stuff like remotely. And then they were like, did I meet them when? Yeah, I met them once when they came over here. Went to one of their shows, and they were like, "Oh, come and meet us" or whatever. And then they were like, "You've got to come over and do some like a writing session." So I went over for a few days, and it was just really fun. I went to their studio, and we just jammed and just had a lot of fun basically. And they took me out for sushi. I'd never been for sushi before. I was just like, I don't really understand what that's about, but it was all right. But yeah, and then I actually planned to go again. It was around like lockdown period, and for some reason I thought we all thought that I could go, so they booked my ticket. I got there and turned out I couldn't because of restrictions and things, and we'd mixed it up a little bit, so I should have been there again, but I didn't. But hopefully soon again.
Yeah, because I think your voice sounds really good on dance tracks.
Yeah,
Definitely.
thank you.
Definitely.
Thanks. It is something that I'm kind of doing a lot more of, like especially the past year and a half. I've started to embrace it a lot more. Yeah, I think, you know, I don't know what you were going to ask me. You're probably going to ask something about that, but yeah, I'll let you go for it.
I want to take it to your video Away.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
I would like brilliant video, by the way. I like how it's like a kind of collage, a montage of all your live gigs in your life. Can you talk about some of your fondest memories from that video?
Oh, trying to think about the video now. A lot of the busking, because I did that like for a couple of years. That's how I made a living in London, was busking in London. And yeah, and I had some amazing like experiences through that. Like I met a lot of really cool people, like a lot of like jam sessions, and a lot of other great gigs and opportunities that came from that as well. And just like, so yeah, they were some of my like really like some of the best times really. And I can't really think about, I mean, yeah, so I went to Prague. There was some shots in that video from that trip as well. And I got booked to play at the only lesbian club in Prague. And I mean, they are, from what I learned anyway, they are still quite like homophobic in the Czech Republic, and very like but Prague is like, so everyone kind of escapes to Prague, but it's still, even in the city, it's very like people are a bit funny. So like they were all talking about their experiences there and everything. But I felt quite humbled to be invited to perform at their event. So that was nice. And I did some recordings there too. But yeah, I've had lots of different experiences. It's been cool.
Yeah. You get away quite a lot. Recently you've just been to Portugal. Can you talk about your experience there?
Yeah, so
what you got
again, it was one of those, sorry?
And what you got up to.
Yeah, so it was one of those, again, like I just kind of, that was cool because I'd been a couple of years ago just to go see my friend and just to kind of like have a little holiday. And then I ended up doing some busking and meeting some people around there in Porto. And then from that, there was some videos of me online. And then that's how this woman contacted me and was like, oh, come and play in my venue. And I was like, yeah, all right, I'll come. And it was really nice. It was in this like little sleepy village called Salema. And it was like right in the Algarve. And yeah, nothing really going on there much, but because obviously it's only February, right? But they've got this like, it was all locals. It was all locals in this bar, but it was really nice, and it just felt like it was one of those gigs where it's kind of low pressure and like everyone. I was like, we were having full blown conversations with everyone in the audience, like in between, the songs and stuff. And then from there I went to. It was like all the way up to Braga, which is like you go to Lisbon and then you go to Braga. And I went and worked with one of my producers there, and he's got a studio on a farm, which is amazing. And we spent a couple of days working on my music, so working on one song called Alien. So that was amazing as well. So I was there for a week, but went from like the bottom to the top, which was really cool.
Yeah, it's beautiful when you get to travel around and you meet like the community. And they're just like really welcoming and really nice.
Yeah.
That's something that you have some of the best experiences meeting the locals who live there, and not like going and doing the tourist stuff.
Definitely. I mean, as well, because you're away from all that. I mean, I had the first 2 days because there wasn't a lot. There's not a lot to do around there. There's not like literally there's one shop that closes at 12 o'clock. Like every day, in the afternoon. And that's about it. But the beach was so beautiful, and I just had like 2 days where I don't know, I felt so present and chilled, and just like, and I read a book, and I wrote a song. I like brought my lyric book out, and I was like wrote a song, and like I don't know. I feel like being in London and like doing music can be like a lot. I don't know, I'm constantly like what to do next. There's always something else like on my checklist of things I need to do, and it's great. I'm not complaining because it's great. Yeah, I'm like privileged in that respect, but yeah, it's just like I don't know, it can just get a lot sometimes, and it's like you forget to just be happy with where you're at rather than like looking at I need to do this to get to where I want to be, you know what I mean? So it was nice to have that time for sure. You should do more.
Yeah, definitely, because sometimes you need to get away and just kind of clear your head, and actually when you go back you have more motivation to get on with your checklist and stuff, innit?
That's true, yeah. And a different perspective sometimes as well as to what's also important and what's focused on. Well, I mean, I spent when I came back and I had like the first week, I was like getting up really early and I was going for walks and like, taking like a flask of tea and then like going to like the little park and like doing some writing. And I was like, yes, this is going to be me from now on. This is my like routine. Obviously it doesn't last very long, but it's nice for a little while, But I think that's why it shows to me like because it helps with my inspiration to write songs and stuff as well. So I think it's important for me to like travel or just like do something different. That's what it is. It's like to be able to like write a good song, like you need to actually experience life. And like, if you're just kind of doing like stuff all the time, like as in like work, do you know what I mean? You're not like actually going out and experiencing beyond that. It's really hard to kind of write a good song and get in that zone. So,
definitely. Actually, that reminds me of a video I watched the other day of Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill? She was talking...
I saw that video. I saw that.
Yeah. So they were saying, why haven't you released a second album? And she was like, look, I need to experience life in order to make more music. I made good music, but it's not as good as my first stuff, because that first stuff was an accumulation of all these different experiences. So that's really,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
because I think people expect you as well to get better of a writer as you kind of like get older and you've had more experience and you've done, which I think is good to, I think it makes sense to a certain extent, but like also like a lot of the songs, the initial songs that you write sometimes and those first ones that you put out, or like I don't know, it's when you've got no expectations and there's no one like expecting anything from you, you're just like writing from your soul, and it's like, you know, it's very pure. It's like, and then as soon as you start to kind of, it's not to say that the songs won't be good, you can write some amazing songs, but often after that, once you start learning a bit more, they become a bit more crafted. So that's not to say that, I don't know, they're just, it's just different then, you know, you don't get that. And that's why often I feel like I find myself, along with probably a lot of other people, being like really liking like an artist's first album or first few songs and then not liking them as they like kind of go further down the line. You're like, oh, I don't really like their music anymore, because what they first kind of like came out with was actually something special and unique because it was completely from them, you know. But
yeah, I've also heard the second one you release will most likely be one of the hardest ones, because you've had all that time in the first one, and the second one you have to almost get out quicker, you know, in that few space of years.
Yeah, well, I think when you're tied to a label, definitely, like
Yeah.
100%, because then they want so much out of you, don't they? And especially now, which is why a lot of people are kind of resisting signing to labels so much, because it's like, you know, it's all about singles more than albums. So it's about having those hits. So you can't just like kind of, I don't know, you're not able to flow as much and kind of like get out those songs that are like album tracks, because people are just wanting the singles, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you were reading a book. What book were you reading?
That book was what was it? The War of Art.
Okay, what's it about?
That's it's basically like a self-help book for like creatives.
Oh wow.
It's one of like, if you put in like, yeah, if you put that into Google, self-help for creatives, like that will be one of the first books that comes up. And I know like I've got many friends that have like read it, and then someone gave it to me and I was like, well, now I have to read it because I've heard so much good stuff about it. But yeah, it says some really good stuff in there. It talks a lot about like resistance. Some of the lines have stuck with me, like where it says about the difference between a pro and an amateur, and how the amateur takes themselves so seriously that it paralyzes them. You know, I think like this is something that I relate to a lot, in the respect that like I think as artists and creatives, we like we like identify ourselves with that so much. Like we can't just see it as like a thing that we do. It's like a thing that is literally us. And I see that myself, like I am a musician, like the musician is me, and it's like, you know, like that is who I am, like that's my personality. Do you know what I mean? Like that's like, but it's like it's like it shouldn't be, in a sense. It's like you should see it as like something that I do rather than something that is me, you know. And I think that's where we come into problems, because especially myself, I think sometimes, because it's like I get very indecisive about, is this the right thing I'm doing, because I'm so connected with that. Everything has to be completely authentic, you know, like, so like, you know, so yeah, reading some of this stuff was interesting, because it's like, yeah, especially like the stuff about resistance and things as well, and like I'd give it a read. It would be good.
Yeah, definitely I want to take it back a little bit to your track,
Okay.
Had Enough. And there's some lyrics I want to ask you about. But now you like them, you're worn out too long, but now you've put it out down, like your friends, you suffer silently.
Oh yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Can you say it again?
But now like them,
Oh yeah.
you're worn out too
Oh yeah.
long. Now you've put out down like your friends, you suffer silently. Is that right?
Yeah.
I decoded it off your YouTube video.
I love that. I've not revisited that song in ages, actually. I've got so many new songs now. I don't release enough. But that one, yeah, I forget about that song, actually, because I do really like the lyrics in that. But yeah, I mean, so that's like I guess that part was about, so it's basically like kind of like inspired by like an ex-boyfriend who was just like, you know, who like, it was when I was, I mean, I wrote that years ago. It was like, so that was when I was still like a teenager really, and still kind of like, it was like my first relationship, and he was just like someone that was kind of in a bit of a bout of depression, and I found like, and kind of you know, I found like I was always the one kind of like helping that person to kind of see the light. I don't know, but that part was, I'm trying to think of the lyric again, because you phrased it.
He had holes in his socks from JD.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it's no. It like, isn't it the holes in your not in socks, in your track from JD? Yeah, and it was like yeah, it's just like yeah, from all the amounts of joints that you smoked and like but yeah, it's just like that thing of I'm trying to remember the word. Can you say it again? Sorry, because it's the way you phrased it, and I'm like,
am I phrasing it right? No. But now, like them, you're worn out, too long. Now you've put out, down like your friends, you suffer silently. Is that right?
Yeah, to like then you put down, suffer silently. Well, yeah, it's this whole idea of just like, because he was also like around a lot of his other friends and stuff that were kind of similar, you know. It's just that kind of lifestyle of just like not really doing a lot, just like dealing drugs and taking drugs and just kind of in this cycle of like depression and just like not knowing how to get out of it, and just being in a town that was just like not really giving much and like, you know, no aspirations and all that thing. It's just kind of that like, you know, and it's easy to see, like, I think for some people it's hard to like see a way out of that, because that's the life you're in, and when all of your friends and everyone around you are also the same, it's kind of like, well, you know. He eventually did get out of that though, and he now lives in Barcelona or something. And he was like, "Oh, you really inspired me."
Oh wow, that's like, oh, that's a massive compliment.
Yeah, so that's good. That's good. But yeah, so it was just the idea of, yeah, basically like, and also being a guy, I guess, and like suffering in silence and not actually kind of just putting this front on and not being honest about the way that you feel and stuff. So there's a lot of that as well.
Yeah. And you were just talking a second ago about when you're a pro, you should kind of, you know, see it as something you do. I want to ask you, what else do you do outside of music?
So one other thing I do is I do voiceover work. So I do so I'm the voice for Hits Radio. I'm the station voice for that. So yeah, so that's something that kind of like just came about without me, you know, like when things just like fall into you a little bit and you're like, but I'd basically been doing a lot of the singing for them for a little while, like all of the biggest throwbacks, the biggest hits, all that stuff, right? And then the producer that I work with, he was just like, oh, they need someone to do a voiceover for it as well, and gave me the script, and then I did it, and then and they were like, oh, we really like your voice on this and we're interested in like having me as a station voice. I thought that'd be wicked. 9 months later, I didn't actually hear back from them, and I thought, oh, they weren't interested. But then I got a text like a few months ago being like, yeah, we'd love you to do that. So if you listen to that station, I'm the voice on there, all the in-between bits where it goes, the biggest hits, the biggest throwbacks, breakfast in the morning, and all this stuff, yeah, is me. So that's the other thing I do. But besides that, it's just music. So yeah.
Yeah, not really supposed to plug other stations on the station.
Oh, sorry. Oh no. Oh no. Sorry.
I'm just having a laugh.
This is so much better.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember you had a CD and at Small World where we met.
Yeah.
I remember you. If I remember correctly, you were talking about how you had recorded your own album.
Yeah, so that was that. I recorded that myself right here, sat right here with my microphone. Yeah, and I just kind of, I don't know, I think because for ages I'd struggled to work with the right producers that kind of got my sounds, and also, I don't know, it's just finding the right people to work with has been hard. I've now found my people, which is great. Like I'm working on the songs now, and they're sounding so good, and I feel I'm in a good place now with all that. But then I was kind of like, people were coming to my gigs and they were like, oh, I want to hear your music, but were saying to me that they prefer just hearing, they just want to hear just me and the guitar, you know. And a lot of these songs that I've had, like people hear, but then they're not online for anyone to go and listen to. So I was like, this is just getting a bit silly now. I need to actually just put something out, or like have something for someone to like, and especially have something I can sell at gigs and that, because I was noticing as well that I was one of the few people when I was doing festivals and gigs and things, I was the only one that didn't actually have any merch or CDs. So I was like, I need to do that. And yeah, so I just took it upon myself. I made it a goal to kind of, and this was, I guess, start of last year. And I was like, took it upon myself. I was like, I'm going to do it myself. Like I can do a good enough, you know what I mean, job to kind of get it sounding all right. And it did take a long while, but yeah, I was very proud of it. I was very proud of kind of getting it to that point. So
And
yeah.
you were just talking about festivals. What's some of your favorite festival experiences?
Oh, I mean, like in terms of like playing at them and stuff.
Yeah, or
Like
you know, it's pretty open.
I mean, honestly, like this is why I love Small World so much, actually, because like my favorite moments are just like when you're just jamming around the fire with people, like, you know, often like even like after the music has finished and stuff, like at festivals, I love to just like, yeah, I love to do that. And that's where you meet people and you just like, you know, meet other musicians and just jam with people. And sometimes even if I'm booked for a festival and I do like, and you know, and I perform, I still prefer actually those moments. Like it feels like I can just be, I don't know, you're not performing in the same way. Do you know what I mean? When you get your guitar and you're just around the fire and you sing a song, you're just like, it feels more of like a communal thing, which is like, I don't know. So yeah, there's some of my favorite, there's some of the things that I love about festivals is that element.
Yeah. How do you feel you've progressed and evolved as a human being and an artist since your track Pop Idol?
Wow, I mean, like that was like 9 years ago, so um quite a lot. So I don't know. I mean, I think like I'm definitely a better writer. I'd like to think I was a better writer for sure. And I'm more clued up about like the industry. But to be honest, like that's only been the past. And a lot of it is about the people that you meet, obviously, along your journey and kind of like, you know, yeah, like finding the right people that can kind of like guide you and stuff and like let you know certain things, because if you don't, what you don't know, you don't know, right? So it's just like, it's only recently, for example, that I've kind of really started valuing myself a lot more in terms of you know, like just asking for a bit more money off people, because I think as musicians we're just kind of like, I don't know, there's still this thing where it's just like for some reason everyone else can get paid but us. And it's like, you know, it's, I don't know, when we feel bad for asking money, we feel bad like valuing what we do, even though it takes a fucking long time to get to like where we are, right? And to be at the point we're at. So it's like, yeah, so but I've started doing that and I've realized that actually like people are less likely to haggle you down, less likely to take the piss if you actually put your prices up higher. But there is so that's something that's been amazing, is like just like realizing my worth a lot more. And but God, I mean, so I don't know, that's a big question because I've grown in so many ways. At the same time, I would say that I've stayed very much true to my core of who I am. I don't think I'm someone that like, I don't know, like we all learn from experience and like, you know, we'll make mistakes and learn from them and things like that. But like generally, like I'm pretty much always been the same kind of person, really. I don't know. I've not gone through like many like phases, you know what I mean? Like I know people that have had like big ups and downs and gone through this stage and this stage of their life or whatever. And I've kind of stayed consistent with, yeah, but that's me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, obviously you've got a amazing work ethic, you know, to get where you are and everything.
Thank
And
you.
it's good to see like so many amazing things are happening, you know.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm trying. Getting there, doing
And
it.
what do you think is the most important thing for a musician to remember on their journey of ups and downs and
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is like staying true to yourself. But like, I also, but I also think that like being able to compromise and be able to bend a little bit is also like a good thing too. I think, you know, it depends what you want to get out of it, but I think like there is something to say for like if you're too much of a purist, you might not get anywhere. But it depends what you want to get out of your music, doesn't it? Do you want to like, you know, do you want to make it a career? Do you want to actually make money out of it? Like, or are you just kind of happy just like doing it as a side thing or like as a hobby or whatever? So it depends what you want out of that. But I don't know. Yeah, I'd say that. And just kind of just like remember why you're doing it, all that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Make sure you're enjoying it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to enjoy what you do, you know, that's
Yeah.
you know, part of the reason people get into music is because they really enjoy it and they want to, you know, make that dream come alive, you know?
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
definitely. I've got one more question about music, and then
Okay.
I've got a few random questions.
Okay, cool. Exciting.
So this is a question I ask every guest who comes on, and it is, what makes you a musical misfit?
What makes me a musical misfit? um, my bolshiness, my honesty, not afraid to be loud, and like, and not afraid to, and I know, and I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would say this, but like, I really don't feel that I like to write lots of different kinds of music. I don't feel like I fit in a box, you know. I've got like, it's very difficult for me to like stick with one genre or like, you know, so I guess that kind of makes me, well, a misfit because I don't really fit anywhere within that.
That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, it's hard to, you're definitely right. You don't fit in a box because I can't really, you know, there's some kind of, like you said, there's some rock influences, but there's also some rap influences in your,
Yeah.
and a lot of soul kind of stuff as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I've been compared to a little bit like a female Ed Sheeran. So I can kind of, you know, I can kind of get that a little bit, but I think I've got more of the soul element there as well. But yeah, I'm just influenced by a lot of different music, I suppose. So I like bringing in lots of different things. And also I'm kind of stuck a little bit in the kind of like late 90s, early 2000s music. Do you know what I mean? So like, I guess like my kind of, I don't know, the way that my music sounds very much like that. People have told me that anyway, that it sounds like it's from that era a little bit. So yeah.
Yeah, because I've heard you say before you're like a fan of like Black Eyed Peas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite albums is the Elephunk. And do you know what? That was like what I'm saying about me, similar to them actually. If you listen to that album, it's really like eclectic. Like they've got so many different like styles on there, you know. Like they've got a fucking song with Papa Roach on there. You know, like a rock song on there. Like so, and I love that. I love to see that from artists. I don't feel like I do see that enough in music nowadays. Yeah. Like, which is a bit of, that's why I was saying about like, it's just a bit of a shame that like, you know, albums aren't kind of like sought after in the same way, like, I don't know, as just individual songs. Yeah, which is a bit of a shame, but there we go.
Yeah, because we've kind of gone onto the like Spotify streaming era now, so more people are more interested in releasing singles, aren't they, than like full length albums. And but Black Eyed Peas, the first two that album and Monkey Business. Well, they're not actually the first two because they were actually an underground hip hop.
Yeah, right.
10, 15 years before that. But Will I Am, awesome producer. Like he earned his he earned his stripes. You know, he was doing it for so long before they exploded with Where's the Love. Definitely. And I've got a random question to ask you now. If a child somehow survived and grew up in the wilderness without any human contact, how human would they be without the influence of society and culture?
If they grew up with no human contact.
Yeah, in the wilderness. Well, like away from society, away from everything that's going on.
Yeah. What was the question? How?
Like, how would they be without the the influence of society?
Probably quite depressed. Honestly, because I think humans want to be with other humans. Like, so that's the first thing. Is like, I don't know. You'd cope, you'd survive because
No,
because
I
obviously
think it's more like how human would they be?
right, yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, what makes us human, right? Because it's like, is it like is it the fact that we can talk and we've got language and, or is it just what's in our head, Is it just like the way it's like that kind of like intelligence level that other animals don't have, but you can have that without necessarily needing to like communicating, right? So
Yeah.
you might like they might not be brought up with communication skills because they don't need that. So but I think it's say that they're still human and still
more
yeah,
more Neanderthals, wouldn't they?
I suppose. But it's like but then that would have been the case at one point in life, like, they would have been, yeah, they would have been Neanderthals. But like now, if you're talking about now, like if it was like a, I don't know, post-apocalyptic world where like, everyone died and there was like one person and then that's a bit different because obviously we've evolved, like physically we've evolved as well, right? So like, I don't know, to just be a bit of like a person that's a bit feral.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Good answer. I like that. Is the internet good, bad, or neutral?
Neutral.
Neutral. Why?
Because we're able to think for ourselves a lot more in terms of like, we can find the information that, any information we want, but then at the same time it's not always to be said that it's going to be true what we read. So I don't know, and like, it's brought a lot of good in some ways, brought a lot of bad. I mean, maybe it's more bad. Maybe it's more bad actually, if I'm really thinking about it.
It's kind of, I mean, it's one of the things you can't really live without it. But, for instance, sometimes taking a break off Facebook does like a world of good.
Definitely. I mean, I think social media, though, is a different thing to the internet as a whole.
Yeah,
social media, I would say, is more bad than good.
Yeah. But I see it as like part of the same family, the AI family.
Yeah.
They're taking over.
I don't know. I think if we're just able to find like information online and like, use it as a tool and we have it like that, then it can be good.
Yeah.
But it's like all the other stuff and like kind of like, how addictive it is and how like we base like, I mean, so many more people are depressed and got like mental health issues now than ever before, and I think that's got a lot to blame for like, having all this, having the internet and social media. So it's just like, yeah, I mean, it was interesting actually because I remember I was in Bristol actually like a couple of weekends ago. I went out for my friend's birthday, and then I was with a load of my friends. We were watching like the Glastonbury, like, have you seen it? The Glastonbury documentary from like the first Glastonbury fair, like in the 60s, 70s. And it's a documentary.
Yeah, I've seen pictures from it, but I haven't seen the documentary. No.
Yeah, I mean, so basically it's just like lots of old footage from it. And we were noting the fact that everyone is so free. Like everyone is like so like, and the thing is like back then there was no internet to like kind of like, no one was going, we have so much choice now, right? If you think about different festivals, like there's so many different types of festivals you can go to, right? But it's just like, and there's a lot to be said, social media as well in particular, it's like a lot to be said for like, okay, this is how you should behave, this is who you should be, right? And it's just amazing to see that and see like how everyone's just like really feeling the music. It's so free, like no one, and it's no one's got any preconceived ideas about anything. They're just going there and they're just literally reacting to their surroundings and each other and the music. And you get that in pockets at festivals, but you don't get it in such a vast, like how it was there. And it was just, and also it probably was such a life changing like event for so many people. I don't know, and we were just thinking about the fact that that was before all of, you know, that was before phones, and you know, no one had any phones, so all they could do, no one had any like, you know, no one was taking videos of anything or like, you know, taking pictures of themselves or anything like that. All they had was them each other to like, you know, and it just seems so pure.
That's a great idea actually for a future festival. It's like no phones allowed. No one can take their phone into the festival and look at
That's
it
a
at
nice
all.
idea.
Yeah, but to be honest, yeah, it's I feel like people are on their phones a lot less when they're at a festival than they are in day-to-day life, you know.
Yeah, 100%, which is what is quite nice. That's true, because you've only got so much battery as well. You know, but yeah, I just think we're in a different society now where like people are just so, we need it because it's part of our life. We need phones and technology and everything, you know. Unfortunately, I need social media for music. It's like, whenever people say to me, they're like, oh, you know, and people are like, oh, I'm coming off social media for my mental health, and I'm like, good for you. Like, I can't really do that because it's like, you know, it's like literally part of my, I would if I could, but it's literally part of my, you know, part of my work. What I need it.
Are you saying like to be an artist nowadays, you need to constantly kind of be on social media, would you say?
I mean, I think it's not like constantly be on it, but I think it's important to have it because I think a big part of how people can find you is social media. A big part of how you it's, you've got to be able to promote yourself these days, you know. If you're if it's important for you to like actually like kind of get your music out there and have people listen to it and build a career, then like social media is like number one. You know, I'm trying to get on TikTok now.
I just joined TikTok.
I just, you know, but the thing is you can't deny the fact that it's been good for so many people, and like if anything, people, you know, musicians should be on TikTok over anything else. Don't even bother with Instagram, especially not Facebook. Do you know what I mean? Just go on TikTok. But it's just like there's a lot of resistance from a lot of us. But there we go.
So I think the best thing is to find like the new one, you know, one that comes after TikTok. So like as soon as you put something up, it gets like loads and loads and loads of views.
Yeah, I wonder what that's going to be. I mean, I don't know. There's got to be something else coming after, isn't there?
Definitely, because when YouTube first came about, there was a video up there that went up of me. I'm not going to say what it is because it's and it got like 8 million views, you know?
No way. Oh, I need to find it. Oh, go on. Tell me.
See, mate, I'll probably show you, like, if you're going to Small World, you know, I might show you then randomly, just be like, oh, yeah, by the way.
Okay.
Like, yeah, it'll get some laughs, definitely. But when that first came out, that just blew up, and I guess it's finding the next kind of thing like that, innit?
Yeah, oh, great.
I wonder how many more that there are going to be after TikTok, you know?
I don't know. TikTok could be, I mean, people are saying that it's kind of like dying a bit of a death now. It's kind of like not, I don't know, as popular as it was and everything, but it's still, I don't know, still pretty popular, I think. I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe it'd be something to do with like AI is kind of taking off, isn't it? Like maybe it'd be like something like AI based. I don't know how, but maybe that'd be the next thing. I don't know.
Yeah. So obviously AI now are doing like art, they're writing lyrics. How do you feel about this? What's your view on it?
You know what? Like, I was in a session the other day and we like got out like the chat GPT where you can like ask it questions and stuff and it would just like come up with like AI generated thing. And we did like, we were like, write a song about desire in the genre of house music, right? And then it was actually pretty good. This is the thing, and it structured it out. It was like verse chorus, and like, okay, it's really generic. It's like it brought up a really generic song, but you hear generic songs on the radio. Like there are some songs like that. Like I wouldn't want to write songs like that myself, but it's amazing what it can do. Like it's, you know, it's pretty amazing how it can like, it formats everything, and you know, yeah. yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know, people are a bit worried about AI, right? And especially I don't know, I was thinking about that, but I've had conversations since with people, and actually I think what it will do is make people more appreciative of art, because if an AI can generate like a very generic song, yeah, so that then, like, you know, then a lot of people that say like produce just very like basic music, they'll be out of a job, and people will be asking, okay, have you got something a bit more, bit different, a bit more unique, you know? So
I never
then
thought
what
of it
will
like
be,
that.
yeah, so then what will be valued is like music with a bit of because that people know that they can just go on their computer and get something AI generated if they want it generic. If they want it generic, they can do that. So people are going to have to try a little bit harder. You know what I mean? And also live music, like real musicians that can play live, people are always going to want that. People are
Yeah.
always going to want to see that. You know, so I actually, when I was starting to get a bit worried about this, and then, you know, I was having conversations about it, and I was actually thinking, okay, actually, the likes of myself, if anything, I think it will be better for me. Do you know what I mean? It'll probably be a better world for someone like myself, you know, that can kind of deliver something that's actually like real and like got a bit of substance. So I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah. And do you have any new music coming out?
Yes. Yes. But I mean, so it's in, you know, it's kind of, it's in production, and it's kind of like I've got Keep Running. I don't know if you heard, you were there when
Yeah.
I was, so
Yeah.
like I heard yeah, I've got Keep Running coming out, and then this song Alien, and I'm working on them with two different producers. My plan is to put out like a 5-track EP, but and then release like 2 singles. But Keep Running has got like a music video with it as well, which is so cute. It's kind of a bit like Away, but like a step up, because I
Yeah.
basically recorded, it was like a year ago, and me and my friends all went to this music festival, and we filmed everyone all in their like festival attire and everything, and I was singing the song, walking like through the festival with my friends behind singing it and like dancing along. So we've got that in there, and then like different scenes of me like walking through like Portobello in London, like, and singing. It looks really cool. It looks really good. So I'm excited to like release that with the video. But there's not a date yet, because I just want to make sure it's all great. And yeah, I'm not rushing.
Is that the one that goes la da 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 la
Yes.
da 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 da? Yo,
Yes.
I have to say, when oh,
Yeah.
it's really,
Um,
it's
I'm
really good.
alive.
It's really catchy. Like, you know, I heard it. I think I heard it once at Small World, and it's, you
Yeah.
know, it's still in my head. So
It's
like,
stuck in your head.
yeah,
That's brilliant.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I remember when I seen you perform there. Like, I was just like, whoa, like that. That's what I
oh,
want from an artist when, you know, when I go and see them, just get that butterflies, and yeah, wicked. I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah.
oh, thank you. I hope you'll like this production, because that's the thing. I feel like in the past I've not got it right with the production, you
Mm.
know, and it's yeah. I just think because I've struggled to kind of like well, for firstly, like not really know what my genre is, right? So that's been tricky, because I think if you, and also like if you work with certain producers that they have to like work with an idea of a genre, that doesn't always work, because it's like, well, I kind of branch off into all these different areas musically. But I'm working with these 2 guys now, Lloyd and Joey. Joey's who I work with in Portugal, and I'm going back there next month. But yeah, and they're awesome. So they just like really get it, and they just give me the time, and they're just like, it's like sounding Keep Running is, it still sounds like organic, but it's got this big like pop like radio sound as well, but it's still got that, and it's got that nostalgic feel too. So yeah, I feel good about that. And Alien, I don't know if you heard that one. It was like that la 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 universe, la 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 universe must think I'm an alien, na, 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 that one. And that one's kind of got like a breakbeat like rhythm in it, and it's a bit more dancey and stuff. So yeah, that sounds good as well. So I'm looking
And
forward to it.
are you gonna have like, is it gonna be just you and the guitar? Are you gonna have any more instruments in there, or?
Yeah, it's all like it's gonna, there's gonna be big drums, and it's, you know, it's sounding more now like where I'm at with the production is it's sounding more radio, in a sense that, like, you know, because I think before it's like I tried working on Keep Running with some other producers, and like they got it sounding amazing, but it was very like bandy, right? It was very much, and it sounded like what people have said when, you know, feedback and stuff was, it was kind of like sounded like the unplugged version of the single, you know, which is great and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want a song to like actually get heard beyond like the initial, you know, like my initial like fan base, people that listen to my music, like you need it to kind of have something that sounds like, okay, this could be on a playlist, this could be on radio, this could, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also like I want it to sound bigger. Like it's nice to have that unplugged version alongside like the big song, you know? So that's kind of what I'm aiming for. So that's why I just, with these songs, they're just like my babies. So I just want to like get them right, you know?
Absolutely.
But, yeah.
And what are you like before you release the song? Are you nervous? Are you just like, no, I'm happy with it, I'm ready?
I think I will be a bit nervous. I think like probably because yeah, but I mean hopefully I'll be very prepared to release it, you know. So and I'll kind of have everything, you know, a good plan and stuff. So but I've not got to that point yet, but probably I think a bit of nerves is, you know, normal.
I mean, like in the past, like when you're about to release a song, are you like, like, can you
Yeah,
describe
well, like I say,
it?
I've not done loads of releasing. I had that EP a couple of years ago, and yeah, I guess I don't remember being massively nervous because I think I just got to a point where I was just like, it'd been so, you know, long not releasing anything properly. And I was just like, you know, I just wanted it to get out there. So yeah, more excited and just
Like,
happy and relieved.
yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Oh, thank
And
you.
send me over Keep Running when
I
it's
will for sure.
ready. That'd be ace. And yeah, Nuala, if you wanna plug all your social media and everything.
Yeah. No, it's just Nuala's music. So it's Nualas music. And that's like Instagram and what else is there? TikTok now. Woohoo. But all that, yeah. So I'm online.
Brilliant. Excellent. Absolute pleasure.
Thanks.